There's carpet on the wall. Yes,
Yeah.
of course there is. Anything for the bounce.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, seriously, thanks for. And this is just a really casual conversation. I have these mics to help with like the sound. So we'll just pass them around. This will be our talking sticks. So feel free to just kind of grab or walk or whatever. But just wanted to make some quick introductions between us all, and then we'll just kind of start talking about like the project. We've got like really cool people here who are working on macro and micro versions of community. So I just would love to kind of hear y'all's perspectives in particular. But yeah, you all know me. You're kind of the reason I'm here. So thanks for being here. This is Meg. I'll let her introduce herself.
Yeah, Meg Palace. I work with the communications department in Somerville, and I'm working with Matt on this project. I'm really excited to have you guys here.
Hello, I'm Lisa Simmons. I am the program manager at Mass Cultural Council for the Communities Initiative, which is local cultural councils, cultural districts, and the festival program.
I'm Zola Coleman, and I'm the Events and Partnership Director here at Bow, and then I also run our event space.
I'm Zach Baum. I'm the co-founder of Bow Market.
Hi, I'm Heather Balchunas, and I'm with the Somerville Arts Council and Arts Curator and Program Manager.
Sweet. Thanks. I'll just hold this one. I know that this is really odd because it's like holding a tiny hamster. It's like, what is this? Yeah. I don't. Meg and I were joking around. We might end up clipping these to like ketchup and mustard bottles or something.
Something easy to pass around that's kind of silly. Make it cute and fun.
But yeah, no, thank you for being here. Truly, I mean, the whole kind of idea about this project is just to invite random people from the community into and have conversations about kind of where we are and what the community really means to us. This project, I mean, it started as a cafe, but I think it's kind of adjusted to obviously kind of more of a radio station at the moment where we're actually just televising some of these conversations that you would potentially have at just a cafe. And really the idea behind like the nightcap kind of experience is like you could kind of just show up as a third party, as like really anyone, students, any type of thing, and sit down next to someone and just say hello, and feel like really invited and encouraged. Like that's like the expectation type of thing. So really just trying to create community through that kind of premise. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing, and thank you for being here. But yeah, no, we have obviously folks. It is because of you all that we are here. So so I really appreciate the support with the project and just with me in particular, obviously Meg as well. But yeah, I would love to kind of dive a little bit more. Obviously, we're working from very high level. Kind of like how does the state address community and how are we like working with the arts, and then Heather here being more on the kind of Somerville scale, so being involved with so many different kinds of communities, but then in particular Bow Market really servicing both this market and Union Square and Somerville in multiple ways. So yeah, I guess just like obviously community means something to you, so if you're here I assume, so I would love to kind of like understand like, I don't know, what's your drive, what's the drive? Or what does it mean to you? I'll pick if no one. Yeah. Okay, well, I can go first. Should I answer this question?
Yeah.
All right, how about that? All right. I don't know. I think community is just being able to like know your neighbor, and like be able to just like talk to someone on the street, like, hey, nice jacket type of stuff, which I do experience here in Union Square more than other places, I feel like, which is awesome. And so yeah, I just like I've moved here like 7 years ago. I'm kind of originally from St. Louis, but I moved around a lot as a kid. So I kind of understand what it's like to be out of your element and like, I don't know, like try to find community in a lot of different places. So yeah, it's just being like having the comfort and the confidence just to be able to talk to strangers and like, I don't know them personally too. Like that's kind of like a whole other level. It's like a little bit more than just a surface level of like, yeah, that's Jack, he's kind of cool, but also be like, oh, Jack's wife just had a baby. Like I wonder how they're doing type of thing. So yeah, that's kind of what I think it is and what I hope to see more of.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. I think it's also about sort of like lifting people up. Making sure that people have what they need, and if they don't, reaching out. So I think that, with arts and culture, I think we see that, right? That it brings all sorts of people together, and that's sort of the whole premise behind supporting that, right? Supporting that need and that belief that art can be a unifier, and I think that is really a sense of community when people can walk into a space like this and just have conversations. I think it's something that's really missing in our society right now. So I do think that people want that. People want to connect in a way outside of their phones and outside of whatever social media and everything. And I think when you feel it, you know it, right? When you feel that sort of connection one-on-one with someone in person, you can feel and understand.
I got you. No worries.
Understand how
Forgot to pay the phone bill.
that community is working. So it's sort of like, I don't know, at Mass Cultural Council, that's that whole belief, and making sure that there's room for everybody, making sure that everyone understands there's a place at the table for everyone, making sure that local cultural councils are expanding and opening up for their communities, making sure that our programming is there and everyone understands that it's there for them. And then, creating this sense of, supporting artists and supporting organizations and making sure that those organizations are doing that kind of work and opening their doors for folks. So I guess that's sort of like my belief in what community really means.
I love it. I also love too, like the way you said about social media, like where I feel like with social media, we're supposed to like be able to connect more easily, but for whatever reason, I feel like it actually isn't as good. Yeah, so it's kind of like breaking down those barriers. So I think it's interesting to bring up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the word that comes to mind for me is investment. Just like community isn't free. It's not a free exchange. So whether it's like living in your neighborhood to create community, that means you have to invest in actually knowing your neighbors, saying hello, showing up for them if they're sick, learning their children's names, their birthdays, all of those kinds of things are like what an actual that actual feeling of community gives you. And I think it's the same at Bow Market or in a larger context of, investing in art, investing in, different small businesses, investing in our events. Dia de los Muertos is like one of my favorite ones that we do. We do Lunar New Year. But it's not free to do authentic events. It's not free to invest in small businesses and support them through challenging times. And it's also not free to have a space like Bow Market. So that means like people have to come and shop, and they have to buy from local businesses, and they also have to learn business owners' names. And we always feel very supported, and we're doing a lot of community fridge drives right now. We've had a member of our community fall ill recently, and we know very easily we can fill a blood drive. We know very easily we can keep her shop open because we know how we show up for each other here. And we know how our community shows up for us in a larger context, but it's like a constant investment and reinvestment, an exchange of kind of goodwill and labor.
I feel like in particular too, at least when I enter Bow Market, you can really like sense that like that's all the behind the scenes work that we don't traditionally see as like a customer. But I don't know, I feel like even with what you're doing with the space and how you're activating it, it does feel like a community. So I commend you guys for like the work that y'all do.
Even just walking in without anybody here, it breeds, right? It breeds community and all the little small shops and Small Shop Saturday and all that sort of stuff. I think that providing the space, it's a night. I like that.
I know, it's kind of ambient. I like
It's a mood. It is a nightcap, right? So I do think that creating what you guys have done to create a space for everyone and make it feel really inclusive is all part of that too. But I love that idea about investment. It's right. You have to invest in it and support the people that are here and getting more people to come in and be part of that community.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we sort of hold close to our understanding of community and how community is built around Bow Market is giving as many different people as possible an opportunity to show up in public, to show up in the market, to show up in our event series and spaces like this or spaces like Upstairs at Bow. And I think for us, it's that sense that as many different people that can participate, it means that they're connecting to their existing communities, their existing sets of friends and family, and making sure that those, and it's it's that agency of the individuals that gives their communities the sense of familiarity or the sense of comfortability here. And I think that it was something we learned a little bit by accident, insofar as myself and my business partner did not have capacity to throw events, or didn't have, the wherewithal or the skill to sort of do all these things. And so we relied on the other folks that are a part of this this business community to do that. And it sort of has lent, I think, I hope that is what comes across when you come into this space, that it's the product of so many different people and so many different backgrounds that are making it into the place that it is.
Those are awesome, and I do have to say, as a Somerville Arts Council person, we've benefited and been wonderful collaborators within your events, and it's helped us as a community too to both give weight to our programming and to be able to kind of share on a broader scale. And for me personally, I've always been a joiner. So even early on in college, I was part of student government, and so it's a way of sharing ideas, connecting and engaging, and it is the investing. It is the investing that's also not necessarily monetized, but also sharing the importance of those values of that, and that is in the work that we do. Fortunately for us, we are a local cultural council, but we're also a city department, which means that we have the resources to be able to do more things for our community. And being a city department, we do want to listen to our constituency, and we view art as a very large umbrella. So it's not just visual arts, but it's dance, it's music, and it's also the culinary arts, which we have Nibble Kitchen, which is right here at Bow. And culinary arts as a way to be able to share and tell stories, because food is a connector. It's We all eat. We all have those wonderful moments where when we think of food, we think of home. We have a personal story that's attached to it. And when you make things, shared experiences, personal, it reinforces connection. And I think that's what the creative community does. It provides It provides and it humanizes the experience, and I think that to me is what community means to me. And we need more of that. And I think everybody here does that in their own way through their work, is to be creating that human experience. So.
Yeah, no, that's a great read. I think you said a couple of things that definitely kind of pinged in my mind. But one, I guess you had mentioned values in particular. I was just curious, maybe from everyone, what, or just pop in, I guess, what the values, I guess, you would see as Somerville's values are. I know that we have a hugely dense population, and obviously, I'm grateful that I get to be a creative in this space. So yeah, I'm curious what you all think that they are. Are you were from Massachusetts or something in general? I mean, I'm from the Midwest kind of, so I'm from a little bit of a different kind of space. So I've always been super grateful for the opportunities and just being able to see other folks being uplifted by their community, or showing up for the different community members, and sharing those voice. I was just, that's something that I find really inspirational about living here, is there is a sense of kind of shared growth, essentially. If you're participating, it's kind of a double-sided thing, where it's if you're participating, you're sharing and you're growing, but it kind of goes both ways. If you show up, you will do better. If they will show up for you as well, type of thing. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think that Somerville's values are? They can be easy. I don't know. You don't have to go.
Definitely
into
inclusivity.
I was going to say, totally.
I think that it's kind of a cool space to be hey, no matter who you are, where you're from, we're gonna give you your shot, give you your platform. I think that's nice.
Yeah, I was going to say that because I live on the other side of the river, in Boston, and I think that's what I've always thought of as Somerville, even way back when the in Square Men's Bar and Ryle. There was always this sort of really cool place to go where you always felt like you were welcome. And it didn't matter. It was like you loved jazz. It didn't matter who you are. You were going to come to these places. You were going to come to, so I think that, and it's sort of like, each one of the squares has its own
Like flavor.
character and flavor, but that flavor is just a different part of the connectivity that Somerville has, right? That's how I've always felt. So I mean, I think the same way. It's like inclusion, inclusivity is a big part of, I think, Somerville's value, and I think that's why it draws the people it draws to be here and to be in these spaces. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we value density in a funny way, in that it's sort of, you're likely to be living above or below or both someone else, and just understanding that is a reality. That's a part of living your life. So there's some amount of grace given to folks when they're loud or when they have people over, and I think folks expect grace on the other side as well, which I think is something I like about living here.
Yeah.
I think I grew up in Cambridge. I now also live in Dorchester, and I lived in Somerville for like a brief amount of time. And I think what sets Somerville off, if I had to say from like Cambridge or Dorchester, I do think Somerville's just always been such a city of immigrants in a way that is not, if you grow up in Cambridge, you're a Cantabrigian. And that's how you just kind of identify yourself. Where I think Somerville, you're just like, I'm Portuguese, and I'm Portuguese. I'm Irish. I'm Mexican. And I think that there's just a lot of pride in the Somerville immigrant community that makes it feel really like unique and rich in a way that neighboring communities are not exactly the same. Boston's just overall a diverse place, but I would say Somerville's particularly so. Kind of like the queens of around here. I'd also say Somerville's just a little scrappier, I think, than some of the neighboring towns. I think it's has a reputation of being a working class town, and I think, and an immigrant town, and I think that lends itself to how people live and move about Somerville and the arts community in Somerville in a way that sometimes Cambridge or Boston can be a little bit sleeker or slicker. I think that Somerville like really prides itself on kind of like having that real like DIY, throw it up, make it happen kind of attitude. Which
grit,
makes it a
like
little.
grit.
It has a little grit, it has a little grit, a little
Indie.
rhyme,
It's like an indie
a little
scene,
more
like,
indie, yeah.
proud to be that. This is where I can. People are going to accept that. I'm just going to throw something up and see if it happens. People are going to be like, cool. We're going to go there. And that's the expectation. You come here for that expectation to find things that you're never going to see, experience. Whether it's food, like you said, whether it's arts and culture, whether it's small shops. Like this is where you can find that indie.
Yeah.
And when and to kind of build off of that, it's when I first came onto the Arts Council, we were continually doing like the Illuminations tour, and it's to build off of all what you're saying. Somerville was built as a working class town. A lot of the triple deckers were intergenerational to kind of really solidify the whole family values, the community values that we have. And for years, we had these neighbors, and they would tell their family histories when they would go and decorate their houses. We still have record of that. We still have a whole book dedicated to the Illuminations tour that tells these family histories and these stories. Some of those people have passed on, but they're on Otis Street. Their children kind of continue that tradition. Now we do more of a decentralized version of that, but that was a great example of the immigrant spirit. A lot of like the really fantastic houses were from Italian and Portuguese immigrants. A lot of them from Cape Verde, and on special moments, you can go into their house and see the like the creche or the nativity, and it was something that wasn't necessarily an indie vibe. It was very much a Somerville vibe of Somerville people telling their stories, and that is what really made it special, and especially people who were kind of transporting into Somerville, they got a chance to see a whole other window into the community and other people's lives. So I think that is kind of special. And I think people want to share those stories, I think, here. And I think that is something that, and it is the inclusivity, it is the diversity, it is the home of immigrants. And I think there's probably, 20 plus languages spoken here in Somerville, and that says something about the whole fabric of our community. And that's what makes it rich, and that's what kind of draws people here to be able to do that. In addition to like the fun events, and I think highlighting those, just like what you do here at Bill Market, and being intentional about showcasing these, like the uniqueness of it, I think gives recognition to that, and I think that's great that people are out there promoting it. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had brought up kind of like everyone's kind of talking about, specific events or anything like that. Is there any that like maybe you enjoy or like have found like that attributes to like part of feeling like home here? For me, like I just think the idea of Porch Fest is a blast, and I think that's a wonderful thing. The closest thing we had to that in St. Louis was like Mardi Gras, but that was just like a sloshy mess.
Fun.
Yeah, fun. Oh, definitely fun.
Expected for our
But,
community.
yeah, no, I think that is like a unique thing that like it makes this area like stand out. It's like separate and different, and that's something that
Or the
I
fluff
like to
fest.
cherish. Yeah, the fluff is a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I particularly,
You're good.
of course. I particularly, I love Somerville Open Studios,
Yeah.
and I think it's something where living in Somerville, you have a sense, and there's a lot of advertising and literature around this, but just that there's so many artists around, but it seems that they're just below the surface. And I think on Open Studios, you're sort of invited into that below surface area to see how many of your neighbors are artists and how many neighbors are actively using their homes or their spaces as studios. Like literally just next door or around the corner from you. So that I always enjoy is understanding how close those things are to just where we live and also how widely distributed around the city they are. It's not sort of concentrated in one or the other neighborhood.
Yeah, your open studios are super fun.
Yeah.
It's in like an old foam factory, and I just remember like one of the first times I went, I was like, it's so cool. Like every floor, it's like you look inside somebody's brain, like what they're working on or what they're creating is so interesting. Something that I love too.
I think that's a great. That is a great way to create community too. I mean, with all the porch fests that are happening across all of Massachusetts now, and open studios, and really getting the opportunity to like see and sneak into people's space and really talk with artists and culture bearers, I think really helps to bring that community. There's that community that is part of that are in those studios, right, doing their work, and then you're bringing in the outside community to be part of that community, and then there becomes this bridge between the outside world and those artists, and also with Porch Fest and festivals in the streets. I think it's sort of like opening that door to create even a larger community. I'm curious if you all, because you're in Somerville, the community is changing, and how is that sort of outside coming in, dealing with the community that already exists here, and making sure that you don't lose that sense of what Somerville is and what you talked about.
My grandmother lived here like in the 80s. She had a duplex kind of near Market Basket. She's a landlord, and I remember visiting her even when I was like 5 years old, and I had no idea what Somerville was. Like I wasn't here a lot, and it looks completely different now than it did when I would visit her in like the early 2000s even. But I was like young enough where I was kind of like, I'm not really registering my surroundings in the same way, I guess. So but I don't know, I feel like as soon as I moved here, I was like, I feel like I'm at home. Like I felt comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed changes. I mean, I haven't been here as long as maybe some of the y'all, but yeah, I mean, I think that's something that's like that we would want to keep is like that grit, or like maintain a certain like this, like you can come, like don't change, like I don't know, not don't change, but like come in. Obviously, we're welcome to the table. And share your shit, basically.
Don't take, bring in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, respect what's already
add
been
to
here.
it. Add to that space.
Yeah, which I think, I hope for that kind of continuation of things.
So I've been here. I've been in the Boston. So I've been in the Boston area for over 30 years at this point. I came here because I went to Mass Art. So I first lived in Somerville around the 1999, and then I moved out in I think it was like 2003, and then because it just wasn't great at that point. And then so it was at least where I was living, and then moved back in 2007, and so I've seen lots of changes. And for me, it's less gritty than it was. So to me, it's getting very fancy. So I see like a lot of the lab spaces coming in, a lot of these newer buildings, a lot of repurposing of old duplexes. So I do see the changes a lot in there. What I do enjoy is Somerville is very lucky to also have 9 studio buildings too. So keeping those intact, I think that is something that is important. And also like looking at how can we preserve spaces or repurpose them in ways. I mean, Bow Market is a great example of that. It used to be a garage, and now it's a market. And Portland, Oregon, they do that with. There's a chain called McMinimans, and they repurpose and they make into either like a brewery or a movie house or things like that. But a way to be able to kind of give back to the community, but still kind of maintaining this really nice aesthetic, that's not cold. And I think that's trying to find that happy balance with that. So, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, Zach, I was curious, like, you obviously kind of got this all started, and there's obviously a huge amount of history there. But, like, I'm just curious, like, what was that kind of origin story?
It's
even from a high
2019,
level? Yeah.
right?
We opened in 2018.
2018.
So it, let's see, let me try and compact this down.
Yeah.
So I met my now business partner, Matt Boyce-Watson, who also grew up in Cambridge, in the context of, we were introduced as two people that were interested in Cambridge at the time and Somerville, and without any discernible skills. And so how could we participate in building the city that we wanted to see without being a chef or an artist or a shop owner or something like that? And so came up or sort of landed on the sense that there needed to be more space and different sorts of spaces, and generally smaller spaces for sort of newer ideas to take root, or I should say older ideas, but new to the area to take root. And then this building became available for sale, and Matt's father, Mark, has had his architecture practice on Bow Street, looking back on the back of this building for 30 years.
Wow.
And so that's how we became aware that this building was available. And it was sort of, and at some point, people wanted to make it housing. It didn't quite work out for this, that, or the other reason. Something to do with the city really wanting to preserve it for an adaptive reuse. And sort of our idea of providing space for small businesses to take root and to sort of provide more opportunity for a different set of people to participate in the economic opportunity of the city, paired with this building that I think even without us being here, because of the size and shape and sort of it's removed from the street, has a bit of a magic to it. And so those two ideas sort of came together with the opportunity to purchase the building and do the renovation. Nice. So yeah, that was 2016 when we started, and then we opened in 2018. Awesome. Yeah. Oh, and actually, just to build on the point before, I think one of the things that we're really interested in, and I think has been really a big part of the success here, is just more space. We want more spaces available for people, and I think that so much of one thing that is frustrating is there are so few large spaces that were built, more than 25 years ago in Somerville, and so those are being now gobbled up by things that are more lucrative than artist studios. Yeah. And the city is doing a ton to preserve them, but in my sense, it just needs more. We need more spaces that we build now to then maybe filter down to become artist studios in 10, 15, 20 years, or just allow for more and different things to happen in the commercial and sort of non-residential area of the city.
I just want to
Yeah.
and just to build off of that is and flexible spaces, incubator spaces, and I think those are important. We get so many people calling looking for space, looking for
space.
affordable space, but not something that they want to maybe test out an idea.
Yeah.
And to see if it's viable, like this space,
It's a great example.
this is great, and say, oh, maybe I want to do a podcast. I have a space to be able to do this, and I think having something that's flexible is and that multiple people could use, I think would be. The creative community is poised for it; they want it, and just trying to see ways to be able to make that happen.
And I think that we've all seen how spaces like this transform neighborhoods, right? I mean, it's happening all over Massachusetts, and it's wonderful to see schools being turned into artist spaces in Harwich and in Fitchburg and in other spaces, all in Western Mass and Pittsfield. And so I think that's a really important part of it too, that the more success we see in places like this, more we can sort of push developers to think a little bit differently about that space. But I also think it's really important what local cultural councils do within the context of supporting arts and culture in every single 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts, who have the autonomy to take their funds and use it in a way that is focused on public benefit. So I think what you do in terms of in Somerville and all the applications that you get in, and it's always really hard because there's never enough money to support people, but to support and to be able to see what people want to do within Somerville with those funds, and then support that and making sure that that does happen, that there might be developers taking things down and putting things up, but if you have people that are focused on making sure that there is arts and culture going on in certain spaces, that I think that's an important part of it too, is programming. The programming here is really important, especially if it is touching on every ethnicity, nationality, whatever, and that you're doing Diwali, or you're doing, King's Day, or you're doing, Day of the Dead, like things like that bring in community that may not necessarily feel like they're comfortable coming in the door, but once you create that space for them, then they're here all the time and they become part of that community. I think that's a big part of it too. Programming is a big part of it.
This might be. Want to you just keep talking about the LCC program, so and might be a good segue into that. So, Somerville is one of the 4 municipalities that give out artist fellowships. Matt here is a recipient as an LCC fellowship winner, and so congratulations to Matt. This is a part of his community benefit. But I mentioned that, and what you are talking about programming is there is a requirement in order to be reimbursed for to provide a community benefit. We have had fellowship winners do a community benefit and connect with organizations like the Visiting Nurses Association, and Andrea, who was a former fellow winner. She is a literature, and she did a memoir project for with seniors, and developing this workshop as a community benefit. And then she enjoyed it so much that she applied for a project grant and then got it, and now has a continuing program with these seniors. Some of those seniors have gotten published. Self-published, which is so it just and which fosters a community that sometimes gets left behind or neglected or is an afterthought. So it's the LCC program is so important, and especially for municipalities that aren't a part of the city, that are smaller, and be able to inject culture into their community, and a way to kind of give back and to serve underserved populations. And it acts as a seed for bigger projects. I mean, it could be any project from, we try to connect people with like the city with, and also, hey, do you want to do an event at, at Bow Market, at the at the library? And we try to connect people to give them ideas on different locations that they can do these grants. So it's a big art umbrella to be able to serve Somerville citywide. So it's a vital resource, state resource that we're so very lucky to have.
And that program is yearly, right? Like you've been doing it for a while.
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah,
what's like
annual program.
yes, the annual program was at
45 years.
45 years, and it was from the lottery program.
Yes, it was
originally
part
from the
of
Mass Lottery
but
program.
They started the Mass Lottery, and then proceeds from that would go to the local cultural council program and allocations. That didn't do quite well the first year because people weren't buying lottery tickets, and then I think it,
Cool.
and then it increased, and then all of a sudden there was a lot of money that was coming in,
Yeah.
and now that money goes to the general fund. And then there's an allocation that comes to the local cultural council program, or allocation that goes to Mass Cultural, and then we make the decision about, the allocations to each one of the programs that happen at Mass Cultural Council. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's wonderful to see, like over, 11,000, programs happening across the state of Massachusetts because of that program, and that individual cities and towns are making those decisions. And I think that makes a big difference when you're talking about creating these livable communities, right? That arts and culture is such at the forefront of that. And I think that people understand that. And so, supporting and giving money towards that. I'm sure people are doing programming here that got funding from Somerville or Ken, and it's just, I mean, I think it's just like thinking that through, like, how can we make sure that we're preserving our culture, our people, and we're, like Main Streets as well is supporting that. Cultural districts support that. So I think the more that we're doing that and have like-minded people that are creating that, then that community comes with it.
So I guess you would be talking about all these kind of like larger programs. Is there one area where you would direct folks to like, okay, I want to get involved with this, or I want to get involved with Bo? Like how would someone like reach out or get involved, or what's the best like kind of method if I'm brand new?
For us personally, there's multiple ways that you can get involved. The Arts Council, the nuts and bolts how the Arts Council started is through the LCC program. That, as you mentioned, Lisa, it is an annual program. So we do have resource pages on our website about grants. That usually goes out in September if people are interested in a grant. The beginning of September, Lisa will send lots of really great informational emails, and then the deadline typically is either. October 15th or 16th. It kind of depends. I guess sometimes alternates those days. We have informational meetings during the time on how to do a grant. And over the course of the season, we also do call to artists. We do calls to vendors. We have larger events that we host, like Art Beat, Summer Streets. We have those. Like the city will have different events. So there's we have a Google Groups listserv and a Facebook page, and that we do try to do outreach within the community to be able to have for more programmatic things. That is how people can kind of contact us through that, and also sometimes during the course of the year we also need volunteers too as well. And during the winter months we have volunteer get-togethers. So we hosted one where we're making Valentine's Day for seniors, so it's a way for volunteers to get to know each other, and so that's a really great way to get involved too, because part of volunteering is community and also getting to know people, especially if you're new and you don't know anybody, and if you didn't go to school here, it's hard to really kind of make those connections because you don't have those established relationships. So that's always a great way to be able to learn about what we do, get involved, meet new people, and see what kind of works. And also, we like to also share some of our volunteers with other departments of the city too, because the city, we're just one department of a greater organization, and the city of Somerville does really great events too on its, and also cultural events, and tapping into many different aspects of the community. So, yeah, that's my spine.
I love it. No, yeah, that's
good.
great. I feel like every time people ask me like what to do or how I did something like this, I'm like, sign up for the Mass Cultural Council emails. Like, I read them. Both. I get both.
Yeah.
But I got them through that, and that's even how I got my art space. And so like I literally am like, you guys, this is such a huge benefit. It is right there. You just have to read it. So yeah, but then same kind of question to like Bo, like what's next? Like how do we get involved type of thing?
What's next and how do we get involved?
Yes.
Those are just two questions. What's next is maybe like kind of what's happening here, which we're gearing up for the holiday season. So, we encourage everybody to come shop small. That Small Business Saturday is still a thing. And that is the first Saturday after Thanksgiving. So we hope to see folks out for that. We run we run a bingo, we have games, we have prizes, and we'll be here. And again, it's, in terms of getting involved, showing up and just introducing yourself, having a coffee, talking to a shop owner, learning their names is really when people are like, do you keep these vendor lists and just reach out? No, like your investment into, if you get to know us, how much we will, and we can help you find the right fit, and you'll know what the right fit is for you. But yes, we live in a culture kind of like blind mass emailing or Instagram DMing. Like, no, actually just come, say hello, shop around, get to know who's here. And that's really how most people who want to participate in vendor markets and things like that get those spots, is really because they start to know the hosts and organizers and collaborators and build community, and their friend tells them who to email, and then next year they know and they're on that top of that list. So I encourage people to just, even if you're not shopping, just come, hang out, say hello. Everybody's here hanging out most of the day. So that's Small Business Saturday. Then we also have the holiday stroll. Union Square Main Streets has their holiday stroll on December 7th. There'll be carolers.
The jingle.
Oh my gosh, yes. It has rebranded. It is the jingle.
I'm sure I worked on some communications for that.
I'm also on, I know, you are killing it, because I'm on the planning committee.
You rebranded.
I'm on the planning committee. Yes, so
What's the name of it?
it's the jingle.
Okay.
The jingle.
Square jingle.
The Union Square jingle. There's everybody will have their windows decorated. So it's a great time to just come, look around, get some holiday cheer. There's a few different markets around that you can shop small. We'll have a sustainable market that day, and upstairs at Bow, highlighting some sustainable vendors. But in general, we'll just be here and merry and cheerful. So that's December 7th. And then we have a lot of other programming running throughout the month. We call this month the Merriest Month at Bow. Every single day we highlight an activity that folks can do with their friends or family or by themselves that is ideally low cost. So not just shopping all season, but also coming and play pinball with your family. Come have some fries. Maybe come do some gift wrapping. Come watch a movie. Come check out a meditation here in this space that I know Matt is running. So we'll be highlighting things that you can do for self-care, that you can do to build community, that you can do with your neighbors and friends all month. So that's kind of what's coming up. And again, I think just staying, getting on the newsletter, that's always great advice for people of how they can know what's going on, is join our newsletter, join our email list, check out the website, see the calendar, follow us on Instagram, and say hello. I'm usually here, or Tina, who helps me out in upstairs, but we love to gab. We love to talk about events that are coming up. So just come be in community with us, and then you'll know what's going on, and we'll be excited to hang out.
Yeah, I think one thing that Zola hit on and is something that we are constantly trying to tell people but have literally never said out loud is that each of the events and each of the markets that we have, like the Sustainable Market, we did a Ren Fair earlier this month. We have Vintage Market, Dia de los Muertos. Each of those events, or many of the events that we have some sort of market element where someone can set up for a day or for a few hours to sell their wares or have an art show. We did a mushroom fest, and there were people teaching people about mushrooms. And one of the things that's important to us and important about how to get involved if folks are wanting to sort of participate in a public event is that the individual organizers are the folks that decide who shows up for that event. So there's no sort of central, they don't email into Bow Market to me or to Zola, and then we say, yeah, you go to Dia de los Muertos or you go to Ren Fair. Those decisions are all made by the organizers and ultimately by the people that are closest to the cultural experience or closest to what it is that they're trying to represent in those events. And so to Zola's point, if folks are interested in participating in events or participating or even just starting something on their own, emailing individuals or getting in touch, or even better, being in touch in person with individuals that are hosting those things is the best and truly only way to do that, because we don't tell people who to have as part of their event. They make those decisions themselves.
Yeah, that's actually how me and Matt kind of found people for our first market. We kind of just went through like things that we'd experienced and artists that we knew that we were like, oh, you have something cool, like here's a platform to share it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I want to also say the Somerville Arts Council listserv isn't just for us to share with you, it's for other people to share things. So it is a true kind of community bulletin board. So if you sign up for the listserv, if you have an event, if you have a call to artists, then you are welcome. And it's as long as it's Somerville related and or Somerville benefit, you are welcome to share it and hopefully get more people involved within your community too. So.
No, I mean that's a great way. I'm curious. So when you talk about so Bow Market organizes their own stuff, but then other people come to you to ask if they can put on something here.
No.
No.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Because that was a little.
No, I think you had mentioned this kind of earlier, and I was gonna chime in, but I was waiting. So one of the really important. So I've been in this role as kind of events director consultant for like 4 years about now. So part of our ethos is that we don't hold the same events every year. Our events, for the most part, besides the events that we say happen to us, which is like Fluff or Porch Fest, events that exist in the community that we then support. But when we have Lunar New Year, that is because we have folks that own businesses here at the market that celebrate Lunar New Year. If we no longer have a Chinese or Vietnamese population that owns businesses here, we will probably just put a pin in that event. And if we get that community back in, we will then. We used to hold one of my all of them are my favorite, so I just say that all the time. We used to hold Afro Vibe, such a really truly a wonderful event. We did it 2 years in a row. We also did Juneteenth 2 years in a row. Currently, we don't have a Black business owner at Bow Market that wants to throw that event right now. The minute that we do, that is the rallying cry to say, how can we make space? How can we make sure that person feels supported in doing that project and feels like they, and find them resources to do so. Okay. So that's really, for me, how I kind of look at the range of events is really they have to be representative of the community that we have, first and foremost. They have to be excited to want to do it. But we don't
work to do
put in the work to do it.
Okay.
But we don't hold like placeholders, and we don't throw and I will not throw Dia de los Muertos in lieu of Maria partnering with me, who owns Amatoli, because she is the true owner of what is an authentic experience. And I would say that bar none, when we do Lunar New Year last year, which was our first year, there was multiple people crying during the lion dance. When we have Dia de los Muertos, the rallying cry, I think it's the best kind of in the area by far. And it's because we're not checking boxes. We're not saying, okay, we know that we are going to do this because there's,
we're supposed to do it.
yeah, because we're supposed to do it. It's on the
so,
calendar. We're supposed to do it, and we'll just, I'm going to order in some fake marigolds. I know that Maria's going to say, Zola, I need this money. You got to find me the money for the real flowers. I need the real flowers because it's important to her. And so that's really our touchstone. That's always my guiding light, and that can extend to kind of other events that are maybe less cultural that still feel very important to people's individual businesses, like Vintage Market. That event is done with a lot of love, care, and passion, and that's truly how we kind of organize ourselves. And then for people who want to be involved in those events, as Zach was saying, a lot of times it is, communicating directly with that owner, which I'm always happy to put people in touch with. If I know, if I can see what a good fit is, if somebody's like, I, like to make Irish folklore art, and I know, we're doing a St. Patrick's Day event or we're doing a Ren Fair, I will connect you with that person to make sure that happens for you. So still reach out, even if you don't know who, but if you give me a little something, I'll hook you in, because we're not gonna, tell a ceramicist that is, maybe does Caribbean art to show up at an event that isn't not the right fit for them. We want everybody to feel like they're there purposefully and connected, and that they can also feel passionate. So that's kind of general.
An incredible way to build community. To really, for the people that are here that have that opportunity, that might want to do that, they might have a business here, but it's like, we want your community in. Is there something that you're interested in, and we'll build it. And we'll help you build it. So that's,
we try not to bring outside.
Right. No, but so you really do feel this sense of community.
It's every event's done with love, truly with a lot of love.
It's got to be done with love.
It's got to be done with love. And then if somebody, kind of along similar lines to Matt, if somebody that's not a business owner here does want to kind of throw certain events, start out, I think a really good example is Culture Lounge, which is an R&B hip hop 35 plus day party that's gotten really big now. They've been doing it almost for 2 years, I want to say. They, attract mostly it's a 35 plus hip hop, so it's definitely a large black crowd for the most part, but also diverse and cute and older. And they started here, and they use that upstairs at Beau event space. That's always an option for folks to reach out, and for me to see if that's an idea that either I can find a moment for it, and I can find resources to support it, or we can collaborate and make sure that nobody loses their shirt on having that type of event in their space. But that one is just such a wonderful, because they outgrew our space to be, anyway, I know.
Job well done.
They built a big, I know. But yes, there's always, I'm always like looking for longer, people who want to collaborate longer term to on events that can be reoccurring, because sometimes they take a minute to build themselves up. And so, definitely feel free to reach out. But that's my spiel.
And one of our LCC project winners, Opera on Tap, had one of our things here.
Yes,
one of my great.
One of my favorite events, as I say, it's my list. One of my many, Opera on Tap is such a wonderful event, and we take so much pride also in space making and being creative about how we use the space for events. And so Opera on Tap's a great example of that, singing opera in the courtyard, handing out flowers, we don't concern ourselves a lot with whom else is there. You want to enjoy the opera, like that's part of investing, kind of, is that you might be inconvenienced, or you might not be your thing, and that is okay. And we don't concern ourselves.
You walked into a piazza, so.
Our general is like, well, you're welcome. So it's the general kind of attitude we have. But that's, during Ren Fair, we also had an artist do a projection along the Rebel Wall, and so that was an art piece about herring migration along the Mystic River. and was analogous to some issues around immigration. But you know, again, the attitude's more is more. If I can find a space to host and make it accessible, I think we, you know, from Matt and me and Carly, who's my marketing counterpart, you know, that's kind of a little bit of our scrappiness around how we view events here and how we view this space is not to over glamorize. There is no such thing as a buyout here. As an ethos, we don't close people out. Ideally, we add layers of things over it. So.
I think the work that you're doing here is like really wonderful, and it's been like a really awesome opportunity just to collaborate with you all and like be here. Obviously, like it's just such a huge gift that you're giving both to me and then the community as well. So. Yeah, I just want to say thank you. And like truly, like I think it's really great work that everyone is kind of doing, and it's kind of like the important stuff, especially just like now. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. We can probably wrap up the conversation. I know you're probably tired of sitting on a wooden bench.
It's very comfortable.
You don't have to tell everyone that. They don't know.
But yeah, no, I'm happy to take any closing statements, but we can also just kind of wrap up and call it.
Is there anything you're excited about for the next month? I would love to hear kind of as a closing, like now that you've kind of, I feel the last time I feel like we've connected, but now you're kind of here and it's open.
It's
and
that flew by.
And the counter's out there.
The counter's out there, and I'm so excited to hear kind of what, you know, there's so many things that you're doing, but is there a couple things that you want to highlight to us or to people listening or anything like that?
I think like a lot. I mean, I think weirdly enough, I'm the most excited to host meditations here every day at noon. So it's like Wednesday to Saturday. I don't know. I just want to like sit with people, I guess, and just like be quiet. I don't know.
And your calming presence, Matt. Like,
Totally.
I'm definitely excited for the conversations. And like also I just feel like it's going to be cool to give people a platform in the area that I know are doing cool things or things that excite me. So just being like, hey, like share it, like put it out there. It's going to be really interesting. I'm like, all the admin and setup, I'm like, I can't wait to just be in it, sitting, hearing people's stories, like actually getting to talk and connect.
Yeah, so this is just the tip of the iceberg, I feel like, which is actually kind of cool and exciting. But I mean, to your point, I guess I am the most excited for the chosen family party that we're gonna hold.
Yes.
And so basically, it's just like a holiday party for chosen family folks, and just to be able to kind of bring your own fam or like make new ones. And it's just like an extension of this and kind of like a ending kind of celebration for the holidays. Sometimes it's not always the easiest to celebrate, or people aren't from here, or you know what I mean. And so when everyone else is all cheery, it's like sometimes you find yourself sitting at home alone. But this is kind of an opportunity to not have to be that way, and to just kind of like sit next to someone at the bar, share a cigarette with somebody, type of thing. So I'm excited, and I'm really happy that like we're able to work together on something like this. So it's been awesome.
Awesome. Thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you so
Okay, that's it.
Like we don't have a cameraman, so I'll just...